What happens to a man that left his culture and adopted another? What kind of tensions he goes through and struggles? What kind of a relationship he builds in the new country with the new people? That fascinated me. It's really studying the phenomenon of the immigrant. And because he wrote The Prophet, he achieved some significance as a thinker and a writer, and therefore worthy of study.
When I was 17, somebody handed to me the book of the Prophet. And I remember at that point being fascinated by this and saying, wow, this man, who is this person that wrote it? And never having any idea about who he is. And then thinking about, oh my God, this man must have been meditating the whole time when he wrote this, and it must have been something really connected to the spirit. And then reading the piece and finding out that he was just a man. He was just a regular person like most of us with our own issues. And I feel like that was, to me, really touching.
In the 1960s in this country, a lot of people read The Prophet. It's reportedly been published in almost 50 different languages, over 100 million copies around the world. It is supposed to be his poetry and the Prophet specifically. Other than Shakespeare and Sun Tzu, he's the third most popular poet in the world. And yet many people may know the name of the Prophet, but they don't know the name of Khalil Gibran. So I think a part of what we've been trying to do is in different media, in different ways, to make sure that people know not only about the Prophet and the sort of the timelessness and universality of the writing behind the Prophet, but also about the person, the artist, the human being, Khalil Gibran.
You see, in those days, 100 years ago, writers didn't write about themselves. They were not interviewed, so they were a mystery. But other people, friends, they realized that he was an important man, and then they started writing about him. But very little from him, if anything at all. It's all from what people say, and then your own intuition.
It was really a pleasure working with the cast. I feel like we had such a fun time digging into who these characters are, and then finding a way to communicate it through what their amazing skills, and finding moments for dance and song and for movement. And I think that we've really enjoyed collaborating together.
It's really important for me as a costumer to be able to tell the story and convey that period from the 1915 through the early 1920s. And moving forward, this production now has established what the costumes in the period should read on stage. So I'm really happy with what I was able to accomplish.
It's a really strong team that was behind the scenes for this piece, and having all of us come together and have a unified vision was very important. It was a very fast process, which is why sometimes we had to make things last minute, but that's the way it is sometimes in theater. Because we've only worked on the piece as a team really for 3 months, it was really fast forward, no holds barred, like we just got to get it to happen, which it did, and happened really well.
Well, we hope that we will continue the journey that was started by Ali Matar, which is to tour North America and South America and to bring it to places where people may not be familiar with who Gibran was, even if they are familiar with his work, such as The Prophet. And we want to sort of broaden people's perspective on issues of everything from what it's like to be an immigrant into the United States and the challenges of coming to terms with living in America, which is for any immigrant group always a challenge to figure out where you fit in and what your story is going to be. And we want to bring that story throughout the United States.
It's the immigrant. How does he survive in a different culture? You know, if you stay at home, if you stay in your own country, you're comfortable amongst your own people. Very little surprises happen there. It's your culture, it's your country, it's your people, it's your family. When you come into another country, you're faced by so many difficulties. How do you deal with them? How do you survive through them? These are the questions I was trying to answer in the play.
I think to me that as an artist, looking at the story of him being an artist 100 years ago, it's fascinating to see what things are actually similar to today, what things are different from today. And I think it's nice to see an artist who still has moments of dealing with his ego, has moments dealing with society that doesn't accept him. How was he able to make it happen? And then for us today, artists today, or just anybody today, seeing how can we make it happen today? How can we follow our dreams? What do we jeopardize on the way there? What do we let go of on the way there? You know, how does these dreams hurt us in the long term? And what does it mean to actually receive what we're hoping for? I feel like it's, in that way, it's very touching, and it's refreshing to know his story.